Welcome back, Exiles. Um, so, yesterday I got hella excited. There was a FIA at the pagoda, and I did a scout first, of course. Got myself annihilated. And what I didn't do was take a head count of how many ads there were and how to do my approach. And instead, I just grabbed my mercenary that I bought that I hired from the Flotsam, and ran over there with a couple. He had a truncheon, I had a sword. I had an axe, a club, and a truncheon. And the idea was that he was going to hopefully truncheon down any of the minor thralls, NPCs, and that was the strategy. Was that I was going to clear my approach or my return by clearing all the ads in the area that I knew I needed to clear, which would be mostly the birds. The gorillas, the 8-men, I can run away from. That's not a problem. But when you're towing a thrall back to your wheel, you kind of want to make sure you don't have birds because they will fuck you up. And if you get staggered or thrown, you lose your grip on the leash. And there's a lot of shrub in that area, so it's a lot of places for you to lose the capture. So that was the thing we did on the way up. He had his weapon until then. And then when we got to the first NPC archer that's on the ridge, I switched him over to the truncheon and told him to attack everything, which was stupid. I should have had him just guard me. That was my first mistake. My first mistake actually was giving him the truncheon as we approached the NPCs on the outside. My second mistake was setting him to attack everything, because I was hoping that maybe, he'd go for the highest value NPC, but of course they don't have that kind of AI. It's just in Destiny. That's not going to happen. So second mistake was having him on attack everything mode. The third mistake was allowing myself to pull aggro from the actual pagoda itself, from the temple itself, the city, the Durketos temple. People call it a city, it's not really. So what I should have done was I should have had him guarding me only. That means that anybody who attacked me, he would attack. Then pull them one or two at a time, because the follower and I could handle 2 NPCs at a time. I wasn't wearing anything but medium armor, something quick and dirty that I could craft, because the whole point of going there was to get, the armor, and specifically the tinkersmith, so I can make repair kits, and not spend so much material on repairing what I would hope to have been an inventory of legendary armors and weapons, because with better armor, I could take on land bosses, and then we could just basically escalate back up to where I was before I got raided. And that was the other thing, too, is that this is the 5th time that I've been raided where, as a solo player, I had enough inventory to support a 5-man group, including followers of the type. Of that. I had 2 entertainers and I had 2 fighters on the table, along with a horse and a panther downstairs just for kicks. And the entertainers, I'm sure, is what attracted the raiders, because the range of the entertainer is about 20 foundations roughly, and they get within that range. Well, actually, it's about 10 foundations actually in a radius, so it's a 20 area. It's a 20 by 20 by 20 area. So they got within that range. They probably, saw the entertainers, because they'll get entertained just as much as I would. The entertainers work on everybody, which is ridiculous. I think there should be a new rule in the program, in the engine, that says that you only benefit from a dancer's performance if you have line of sight to that dancer. So in other words, if I have a dancer on the other side of this wall, then I don't get benefits from it. You know what I'm saying? But yet if I had her behind a lattice or something like that, where I could see her, where the model is presented to me, then, or him, because I've had male dancers too. An entertainer's an entertainer. It's numbers. And that's the real thing, is that, I'm realizing that this is a numbers game more than anything else. And the guys and gals who are on the server right now definitely have the numbers. There's at least 2 different groups, 2 different clans, and each of them have at least 10 members at a time on with them. But this is the most that you can have in a clan. you can only have 10 members, and these guys are definitely at cap, and I'm almost expecting to see some divisions sometime this week where they break off into another group, and I think that's great. I mean, I don't deny them a mega server, a free mega server, because I mean that's what the official servers are. They're free to play on. You just got to be connected to the Funcom, G Portal services in order to use them, and they're not moderated like a private server would be, and they're not, they're under the usual PvP building destruction restrictions and all that stuff. But the point is that a lot of people, they go for this. They get a group together. They all, come to an agreement, and then they take over a server. And I've existed alongside mega groups like that before, and have not had any problems with it. And I've even been raided by some of the faction groups of the mega group, some of the little facets of the mega group as well, and I've not had any problem with it. Typically, the persons who are in charge will be like, "Hey, yeah, we know that we saw that you got hit. We're not. I don't know why they did that. Here's your stuff back, or here's some compensatory, items to get you back on your feet and get you started." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, I appreciate that, especially since I was offline when you raided me, which happens all the time. I've only been raided while I was online once, and I held them off to the point where the four of them were like, dude, you obviously got some skills, join our clan." And I was like, my pure fucking hubris, of course. I should have seen the ego play. And so I joined them. And, of course, but I was clever. See, I had it at that time. This was before they did all the changes to the stats and everything. This is before 3.0, I think it's what it's called. Where I was in a medium armor max build for encumbrance. So I had my entire kit with me, my entire base, and enough materials basically to build this. I can carry all this on my back. It's not hard. And it breaks down in minutes. The moment I start getting raided, everything goes on my back, and, I was ready to jump. And I was on headset with them because they invited me to the party. Obviously, that's how they gave me the invitation. And so I joined them, which means that everything I had, which was basically the light to guide them home and the little bunker that I built underneath the Dagon's Embrace, immediately became their property, which is what they wanted anyway. But I had my kit, and they were like, "So you have? Are you an encumbrance bill? Are you an encumbrance bill?" And I was like, I didn't want to tip my hand. I says, "I'm jumping around. If I was encumbered, then I wouldn't be able to jump around and stuff." And then one of them killed me, and they got everything, and I PM'd them back while I still could, because then they blocked me. I said, "Nice move. That was totally on my fault for even suspecting that you guys wanted to join. I should have just kept holding you off and forcing you away. I mean, if you wanted the spot, you could have had the spot." And honestly, when I think about it, I could have still just kept joining them, but then ghosted, left their clan, taken my shit with me, and gone somewhere else on the map, or gone to ground and just body vaulted until they got bored, which they did. In about 2 months' time, they all bailed out. I was living in the jungle still. That's the funny part, is that I was body vaulting in the jungle and still operating and still playing the game right under their noses the whole time. And which, I mean, I knew they knew where I was, because they did break into a couple of my little shit shacks that I built on New River. So they were definitely still after me, because they must have thought that I had stash left over, and I did. But then I made friends with a guy who came onto the server, and they attacked him, and I helped defend against them. And then about a month after that, he left. Him and his group left short after that raid. He gave me everything he had in his vault, so I grabbed all that, combined it with my stuff, picked out the best items that I knew I could get my own kitchen started with, and basically I waited them out. And about 2 months after this other guy left, this guy that I allied with left, they did. Everybody left, and I just went in and scooped up my shit that they fucking stole. They still had my crafters in a couple of the, and I presume a couple of the followers, the fighters that I hadn't placed yet. But I got my armor back, got my weapons, my tools back. I got most of the materials that they took back, and so it happens, and it's just the way the game flows. But this group here is way bigger than any group that no, it's about as big as this one other group that was on for a long time. And I'm getting the feeling these guys might have been legacy players. In other words, they were on this server long before I was, and we have been myself and the 3 or 4 groups that I played with on another server migrated over here. Most of those groups have gone on to other servers because they just got bored of this place. And I'm like, well, now that you left, these guys are just building up all over the place. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're already set up on the server that we're on. But yeah, and I'm starting to think to myself, well, I mean, if I walk away, if I break it all down and go vaulting for the season, because it is the holiday season, and it's going to be hectic and difficult for me to maintain an interest in this game over. I don't know. Actually, no, that's a lie. I play Conan every fucking day. I actually enjoy it that much that I will play it pretty consistently. And yeah, I've been playing it since it launched on PlayStation 4, way back in May of 1998, I think. Fuck. If I open up my trophies, it'll say something like several thousand hours worth of play. But yeah, I'm starting to think, I mean, what the fuck, man? I really don't know what to do next. I'm deciding. I mean, I'm trying to make myself some better armor. I'm not going to waste the gold in buying a mercenary because I only get a tier 2 mercenary at the best. You have a 10% chance of getting a tier 3 mercenary. Yeah, and I have the alchemist that can make me water orbs, so I can make my potions, my drinks of. What do I have here? Oh, I have my elephant here. It's in here, isn't it? Yeah, I finally got some star metal. Yay! There it is, the cleansing brew. So I just make this instead of using entertainers. And I can carry it with me, so if I get massive corruption from exploring an area, I don't have to worry about having an entertainer around me. So I don't have to worry about that tell being out there very much. But yeah, like I said, yeah, I guess I'm coming to the decision as to whether or not I want to keep any of this going or just break it all down and go, find some place to camp out. And then, I mean, the cool thing is that now with the new crafting scenario, I could break all this down and then just pick, and make a list of all the different materials I need. And I mean, I have all these stations up at the moment, but I'm really not using all of them. As you can see, the furnace isn't even going. There's some steel reinforcements being made there because I want to build up my steel reinforcements. There's nothing happening on the tanning bench or the tanner. There's nothing happening at the armorer's bench. There isn't even anything here at the tinker's bench or at the artisan bench. I think I've got some rotten meat in here. Yeah, there we go. I have the composter specifically just to make ichor. It's the most inefficient way to make ichor, but yeah, that's what it is. Oh, I got a couple of pieces of. I got some material in here now. That's kind of cool. That broke down. That was my old steel pickaxe and shit. But anyway, so yeah, just a quick update, kind of rubber ducking, I guess, with anybody who will listen. Yeah, and also as a cautionary, message to anybody who's playing a game similar to this, if you have the option to grab your shit and just kind of go hide somewhere and wait out the groups until such time as either some friends can come on or you find a different server to play on, then I would seriously go ahead and do that. Don't just give it up. Don't go and do the whole recreate character things. I've done that on other servers, and I only actually do that when I'm scouting another server. I have a couple of servers that I'm watching with other characters, and I'm leveling those characters slowly. And when I get to when I feel like, because there's a cycle in Conan, it's like there's the summer cycle and the winter cycle. Spring and fall are fairly stable. Most people aren't really attacking each other or threatening or bullying or pushing anybody. It's really during summertime and during wintertime, during the school breaks, that you get the pushing. The older crowd, which I'm part of, we tend to be a little bit more about, just building up and playing the game. We play on the PvP because eventually we get bored and we want to fight with each other. So we duel. We will build, forts out in the neutral territory and then have battles with each other there, leaving our bases, our main camps, untouched. And, if I had the discretionary income to afford a private server, that's the way I would run it. You have your flagged primary base, and you're allowed to build as many forward operating bases or as many outposts as you want or you can. Your primary base must be in a T3 building material, and none of your outposts can be in T3 building materials. You can go to Tier 2, but you cannot build in Tier 3 if there's an outpost. In other words, if you build a Tier 3 structure, it all has to be connected and not by strings of foundations. It has to be a chunk. It has to be a solid, obvious fortress of some kind. Like if you were to take over, I don't know what they're called. Let me see. It's over here. There's a bunch of cliffs right here. I was like, there's a oh, here it is. There's a oops, wrong way. There's so what we had talked about. So like there's these two cliffs right here. So if you built a fortress right here and you built a bridge across and you built a fortress right there, then this would count as your one singular base. This would be your primary fortress. It has to be in Tier 3 materials. If there's any Tier 1 material on it, or Tier 2 material on it, it's expected to be an outpost and you can attack it. No outpost is supposed to have Tier 3. So it's pretty easy to find. Most of us would like just build like, a tier 1, like a stone brick piece of shit out here at the sinkhole, and then we would have our battles here. We would raid each other and stuff like that. And of course, obviously, you wouldn't have any high-end stuff there. But, it was just for the fuck of it. Because, I mean, PvP is a thing. People like to argue and fight with each other. That's just human nature. Giving us the outlet to do so is better than, basically we had like a red hour. And there was a couple of private servers that I played on that they were doing the same thing. Since we have dueling in the arena, we have, challenges that you can, do, but it's like, we never offline raid each other, and that's just not happening. But that's what happened to me last couple weeks ago, and like I said, I'm deciding right now whether or not I should just break it all down and put it all away, and if I can go find myself some little place to camp out and just do that. We'll see. I think I'm going to give myself till like Tuesday evening to come to that decision. So chances are I'll probably be filming from the jungle next, or from the desert, or from the highlands, or from the mountains of the dead, or somewhere. I don't know. I might even go fuck around in Sipta. There's plenty of places around Sipta that you can, basically disappear in for a while. So, yeah. But like I said, all of this breaks down into just 4 boxes, and the only thing that'll probably be a problem is, my food will probably start expiring, so I'll go back to eating gruel, but, whatever, doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, that's it. That's kind of this game state for me right now in Conan Exiles. Yeah. I don't know, your advice. Thanks for